On March 15, 2025, the James Webb Space Telescope captured a sudden infrared flash near Betelgeuse, moments after an interstellar object entered our solar system. The timing was exact, the chemistry bizarre. Could a dying star's light be connected to a visitor from beyond? This changes everything we thought we knew. The discovery of 3I Atlas, the interstellar intruder. On July 1, 2025, astronomers with the Atlas survey detected a fast, faint object moving beyond Jupiter's orbit, roughly 4.5 astronomical units from the Sun. At first, it appeared routine, a small comet or asteroid on a distant trajectory. But when its motion data was analyzed, something extraordinary emerged. The object's path shifted too quickly for its distance, prompting researchers to run orbital models through the minor planet's center. The outcome left even veteran astronomers speechless: a hyperbolic orbit with an eccentricity of 6.1 and a velocity of nearly 58 km/s relative to the Sun. No known solar system object moves that fast. This was not from here. Within hours, observatories across the world, from NASA's infrared network to the European Space Agency's tracking array, locked onto the object. Its hyperbolic course meant it wasn't bound by the Sun's gravity. It would enter and leave the solar system once, never to return. Designated 3I Atlas, it became the third confirmed interstellar visitor, following Oumuamua in 2017 and 2I Borisov in 2019. Yet 3I Atlas stood apart. Unlike its predecessors, this newcomer appeared active, even in the deep cold of interplanetary space. Amateur astronomers began digging through old images, tracing its faint streaks across previous survey data. Each rediscovered frame confirmed what professionals were now sure of. This object had crossed interstellar space to reach us. Its motion was so precise and direct that some speculated whether it was a natural body at all. Others suggested it had been deflected through an unseen gravitational interaction somewhere between the stars. It's like watching a message from another world drift silently past our doorstep, one ESA scientist said. By the end of the first week, telescopes from Hawaii to Chile had confirmed its trajectory, light curve, and outflow. It wasn't just an object. It was an event. The discovery of 3I Atlas didn't just expand our catalog, it expanded our imagination. Something had entered our solar system from the void, and its chemistry, activity, and strange surges of light were about to challenge everything we thought we knew about the materials between the stars. Physical and chemical anomalies of 3I Atlas global telescopes continued tracking. 3I Atlas, its behavior quickly proved that it was no ordinary interstellar traveler. Even while still billions of kilometers from the Sun, the object began forming a coma, a thin, glowing atmosphere of gas and dust surrounding its icy nucleus. Normally, comets only become active closer to the Sun when solar heat vaporizes surface ice. But Atlas was different. It was active far too early. Spectroscopic readings revealed something even stranger. Instead of the usual mix of water vapor and silicates, the object's emissions showed abnormally high concentrations of carbon dioxide, traces of nickel vapor, carbon monoxide, and the rare molecule carbonyl sulfide, OCS. The absence of water, combined with these exotic gases, made it completely unlike any known comet in our system. Instruments at Gemini South and the Very Large Telescope confirmed these findings, describing the spectrum as chemically alien. "This is not what we expect from any natural body that formed near a star like ours," said one planetary chemist. The surprises didn't end there. Over consecutive nights, 3I Atlas's brightness surged by nearly 50%, sometimes within hours. These outbursts weren't gradual. They were erratic and violent, more like flares than reflections. Astronomers couldn't link the spikes to solar radiation or known thermal triggers. Something internal, or something external, was causing the changes. Its nucleus size, still uncertain, was estimated between 0.3 and 4 kilometers wide, small enough to tumble, but large enough to hold complex chemistry inside. The data raised haunting possibilities. If 3I Atlas came from a different star system, its composition might preserve the chemical blueprint of another sun's protoplanetary disk, a snapshot of foreign creation. That alone made it scientifically priceless. But its behavior, those rhythmic pulses of light, pointed to something beyond simple outgassing. To some, it resembled communication, to others instability. One researcher summarized it perfectly. It doesn't behave like a rock. It behaves like a relic. By the time these findings circulated through NASA, ESA, and the Planetary Society, whispers began to surface in more imaginative corners of science. The object's glowing form, its columns of gas, its vessel-like shape, these weren't just scientific curiosities. They looked eerily similar to ancient descriptions carved into temple walls and written into myths thousands of years ago. And that uncanny resemblance between modern observation and ancient record was about to become the story's next and strangest revelation. Trajectory, encounter, and risk assessment. Once 3I Atlas was confirmed as interstellar, the next priority was understanding its path through the solar system and whether it posed any danger. Its inbound route was modeled with precision, and by mid-July, astronomers had projected its full arc. The perihelion, its closest approach to the Sun, was set for around October 29, 2025, at a distance of approximately 1.36 to 140 astronomical units, just inside the orbit of Mars. This was close by cosmic standards, but still comfortably distant. The object would never come closer to Earth than 188 astronomical units, meaning there was no risk of collision. Its trajectory, though steep, would skim through the inner solar system before swinging outward forever. In early October 2025, it was predicted to pass just 0.1937 astronomical units from Mars, about 29 million kilometers. NASA and ESA began monitoring this passage, not for threat, but for observation. Any spacecraft near Mars might have a clear line of sight for real-time imaging. However, there was a catch. In late September and early October, 3I Atlas would pass behind the Sun from Earth's point of view, an event known as solar conjunction. During this period, Earth-based telescopes would be temporarily blinded by the Sun's glare, making sustained observations difficult. Agencies began coordinating ahead of time to schedule space-based observatories like JWST and Hubble for post-conjunction tracking. "You don't just lose sight of an interstellar visitor," one mission planner said. "You plan, or you miss history." The question of whether a spacecraft could intercept Atlas quickly became a hot topic. The answer, however, was grim. Because of its speed, 58 km/s, intercepting it would require a delta V far beyond what any current mission could manage. Concept studies suggested that a launch would need to occur within months, not years, and even then, only if equipped with advanced propulsion. Some proposals imagined using solar sails, laser propulsion, or leveraging gravity assists, but these remained theoretical. In the end, while no physical encounter was possible, the flyby offered a rare gift, a pristine view of a body born around another star, tracing a straight line through our home system. It was an unrepeatable event, and with ancient echoes starting to stir in its shadow, attention turned not just to where it was going, but what it might represent. Mythic resonances. Arc imagery across cultures. Even as scientists dissected the motion and makeup of 3I Atlas, a parallel conversation began to unfold, not in laboratories, but in history departments and among scholars of ancient mythology. There was something strangely familiar about the shape, the light, and the sudden brilliance of this visitor. And for those who study ancient texts, it was impossible to ignore the echoes. The Epic of Gilgamesh, one of the oldest written stories on Earth, describes a celestial ark, a cube-shaped vessel built by Utnapishtim, commanded by the gods to survive a world-ending flood. It was sealed with pitch, filled with life, and preserved across cosmic chaos. Thousands of years later, the Hebrew Bible spoke of the Ark of the Covenant, a radiant container carried across the desert, glowing with divine energy, hidden in clouds by day and flames by night. Its dimensions were exact, its presence overwhelming. In ancient Egypt, pharaohs were promised safe passage through the stars aboard the solar bark of Ra, a luminous boat that sailed the sky each day, carrying the sun across the heavens. This golden vessel, carved into tomb walls and temple ceilings, mirrored the path of the stars. Its radiant front, elongated body, and vertical plume looked eerily similar to the shape captured by telescopes observing 3I Atlas. Across cultures, the same story, a glowing vessel moving between worlds. The parallels are impossible to ignore. noted Dr. Sarah Park, a scholar of archaeoastronomy. The patterns continued. In Mesopotamia, Egypt, and Israel, these vessels were not just myths. They were instructions, carefully described, rendered in gold, bound by cubits, echoed in ritual. Some texts even mentioned their movement in the sky, glowing in columns of light, always crossing between realms. When telescope imagery showed Atlas flaring like a torch, leaving a narrow stream of gas behind it, the visual resemblance became uncanny.